Good evening. Health and social care workers were left to rot during and after COVID. The public inquiry into the pandemic has heard that the social care sector was underprepared. The head of the Scottish TUC, Ros Foyer, said care was already in crisis before the pandemic struck.
Understaffed and under-resourced, she said it had been a perfect storm. The trade union leader said many lessons had not been learned. The efforts of the people in the sector, she said, needed to be honoured and recognised. Here's our senior reporter, Gordon Cree.
During the COVID pandemic, as a social care worker, Martin came into contact with some of those most in danger.
You know, we were getting into vulnerable people every day who were worried, you know, because of the lack of PPE. They were worried that we were bringing stuff in. You know, it absolutely affected their mental state.
And that meant he and his colleagues were under strain too.
We should have been a lot more supported. It did feel like we were abandoned. It did feel at times, especially at the start of the pandemic, that the government could have done a lot more. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen for us.
Today, the Scottish Covid Enquiry continued its hearings into the impact of the pandemic on the health and social care sector. To underline the critical importance of this stage of the inquiry, evidence has been cited from Strathclyde University, which found people working in health and social care were 4 times more likely to be exposed to the virus as those of us in other jobs. And after giving evidence at the inquiry this morning, the head of the Scottish TUC told me workers need more recognition for their efforts.
I believe that workers in this sector have simply been left to rot, and a lot of the key lessons are not being learned and things haven't changed, and that is deeply regrettable. We're talking about a workforce that is over 80% female, that is massively underpaid, and that still to this day is suffering the legacy of what we went through in COVID. You know, we've got massive staffing shortages. We need government to learn these lessons. We need to learn them now, or we will continue in a state of crisis in some of our most important public services.
More unions representing health and social care workers will give evidence later this week as the inquiry continues. Gordon Cree, STV News, Edinburgh.